Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 27th of June. My name is Philip Kingston.
It is indeed, and I'm Gary Peer, and it is Tuesday the 27th of June, and it's all happening.
Well, not only is it all happening, Gary, but we're about to wrap up the financial year.
We are.
How's it been for you?
It's been as good as it has been for you.
Well, I don't know. You're the one that generally writes the cheques from the organisation.
I must say, you're a lot smarter with money than I am. The peers, we're not very smart with money. You know, you're an astute investor. I respect you for that. We're just spenders and just frivolous and stupid.
One of the reasons that I'm an astute investor, Gary, is that I buy companies that your wife has an interest in shopping at. So,
yes.
For example, I often ask Hannah when we go out as what she currently buying at the moment.
Yes.
And then when she tells me the product, I rush out and buy shares in the business.
And how do they perform?
Well, it goes up dramatically. And then I ask her what she's not buying.
Yep.
And when she tells me that, I immediately sell the stock.
And some of those companies fold if she was a customer previously. Phil, let's not dwell on that.
Yes.
Let's dwell on the weekend because it was a very fine weekend. Again, some extraordinary results.
Well, we are
How does it just keep going?
viewers. We have to we have to look
Yeah.
backwards, Gary, to that episode a couple of weeks
Yeah,
ago
about
because
3
we
weeks
need
ago.
to keep caning ourselves for
Yes.
getting it wrong. And viewers, I know you dial into this show so that you can get the latest information about the market, but we completely screwed up with that call.
What do we know?
Well, it makes you wonder if we don't know anything,
Yeah.
then you viewers
exactly.
certainly don't know anything if you're watching this show for your information.
Look to us for guidance.
Yeah.
We're all the best. We just underestimated where things were at, Phil. It was another strong weekend. 77% against an industry rate of 70%. Let's quickly put up those towers, Phil, can we? Over to you.
Having said that, Gary, we've just publicly caned ourselves, but
Yes.
the industry average has been softening,
Yes.
and that really is a very clear message about the market forming a plateau.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna
but
open
within
up
our,
the discussion.
within our area, we are still getting some phenomenal results.
I'm going to open up a discussion. I don't know
Yep.
if you saw there's an article on the weekend saying that the buyers can get some good opportunities now because the price guide alignment has become a lot more, I guess under the new regulations, it's become a lot more controlled in terms of agents have to give people indication. So less properties are possibly going to blow through the roof of the quote prices than before. Would you agree with that?
Well, there's no question that if you follow professional agencies that are serious about the legislation, there's no question that they will be a lot more accurate in the quote to the selling price. Gary, I think I saw a sale on the weekend which was so massively out that you do wonder about what some agencies are doing. But then again, we had a result on the weekend, as you will well know, close to your heart, where the result was massively out too. So sometimes with respect to the industry, sometimes the market just views something very differently on a given day. So who knows?
We don't always get it right ourselves.
So was that you opening up a conversation, was it?
Yeah, that was
I thought it was going to be far more interesting than that.
No, that was all there was, Phil, and you just shut it down in a pretty mundane way. I expected better from you, but let's move on to some of the auctions, shall we? Because we had a great one in Glen Huntly Road, Caulfield, Philip, but 2 at 913 Glen Huntly Road. That one we were expecting somewhere in that kind of high sixes into the low mid sevens, maybe, Philip, sold for $811,000, so well done to them more.
That was a big result.
That was a very big, strong result. Phil, I did get along on Saturday morning to Grange Road, Ormond. Checked out that one after I went to the Bentley East Market, Phil, the Bentley Market, which you can get.
Hey, what did you buy at the Bentley Market?
I bought some, Philip, I like to support the Rotary Markets, and that one is in Bignell Road. It's on the 4th Saturday of every month. And that one, I got some orange juice, some cheese, and some bread.
I don't get anybody buying orange juice at a market.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's
Then why wouldn't you just get fresh oranges and squeeze them at home?
I always get looked at a bit strange because I'm the only person to suit there, you know, and I believe everybody else is underdressed at the market, Philip. I'm not overdressed, but anyway.
So you must walk around the market in your suit and tie looking like the mayor of the city of Glenara.
I think I'm a politician or some weirdo. Anyway, Phil, Grange
Do you
Road-
stop and kiss babies and have your photograph taken
No, I
with
just
them?
pat them on the head, Phil. I do get the photos. Phil, Grange Road, Ormond. Well, here we go. We thought we'd get somewhere in the vicinity of 550 to 6. The reserve on the day that was given to us, Philip, was $600,000, which we knew was going to be met, or we thought it was likely to be met, given the interest. But lo and behold, Philip, it sold for $790,000. Can you believe it?
Viewers, I'm really happy to be discussing these sales, Gary, because we talk about a lot of our $1 million, $2 million, $3 million sales, but our bread and butter is still sales really between $450,000 and $850,000.
Phil, there is a resurgence and a reappraisal of the single level villa unit. Now we've seen this.
No question.
We've seen this now, and I've been studying this part of the market. And if you are a seller of a single level villa unit, good news for you. because they've all been repriced now. There's a whole new appreciation for them.
Well, they had to. They had to because as the cost of land rose dramatically, if you think about it, these single-level villas have a much higher land component than apartments.
Well, after I left Leo in Grange Road, and his mouth was agape with the result, as was Adams, who was handling it together with Joel. I went along to Milton Street in Carnegie and Phil, another unfortunately undisclosed result, but what an incredible price. So many hundreds of thousands of dollars over expectation.
Is that price undisclosed?
It is.
There was 100 people at the auction, which is a bit of a tragedy, but all we can say, viewers, is that that's a great example of a single-storey villa unit being completely reappraised by the new value of land in the area. So if you looked at that, that was almost a brand new price for a one of two villa.
But hey, Phil, what I want to say about that sale is that our agents went in there. And in fact,
this is a great story,
it's
Gary.
and I'm going to tell it.
Yeah, well, why don't you?
If you let me. Philip, they went in.
I'm finding you quite low. Is there a reason that you're quite soft today? You're quite soft.
Because I've asked for my mic to be turned up a bit, so I'm no longer disadvantaged because of the conspiracy of you making my mic. So usually, I used to have to talk like this to be heard, Phil, but today I'm on a very soft path. Phil,
this is an up-tempo show, Gary, and I'm finding I'm almost falling asleep with your very soft tone.
We're getting a relaxed vibe this week, Phil. This is kind of the armchair relaxed GPTV. I'm going to change.
We should do a fire. Well, during winter, we should actually do an episode in front of a fire, and you'll have
shoes off. My dog?
No, you'll have a trusty dog.
Yeah, I've got a trusty dog.
Your trusty dog, and I'll have a pipe. and at some point, I will take a puff of my pipe, a puff from my pipe, and I'll lean over and I'll pat the trusty dog.
Well, as long as you don't pat the pipe and do something else funny with the dog. Or at least you don't put any ash on the dog, Philip, because it's white, our dog. Getting back to business. So our agents walked in, they looked at this unit, it was 2 bedrooms, and they said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Vendor, why don't you change this? It can easily be changed and altered to become 3 bedrooms. Well, they changed it. They made it 3 bedrooms. They added value, and presto, it added hundreds of thousands of dollars in price. Well done to you, Jeremy Rosens, and congratulations to the vendor.
The case study there, viewers, is that we spent about $22,000 putting in a stud wall, polishing the boards, painting the walls white, and giving it a bit of a zhuzh, if there is such a word, but giving it a zhuzh, and hundreds of thousands of dollars more. So great case study in the team at Gary Peer & Associates, giving not just sales advice, but advice as to how to maximise their outcome.
Now, Phil, we like to sell big, small, everything across the board. We did sell a property in Murrumbina Road in Murrumbina, and a Viv... he's an enthusiastic guy. He loves selling everything. Anyway, this property was the reserve was $325 on the day, which was in our range of $3 to $330. Sold for $357, Phil, and we've got the most delighted vendor. And what I love about these vendors is they went on record and they said that what they liked the most about us was that we handled their small property as well and as carefully as if it was a $4 or $5 million house. And that is,
I think the DNA of this company, Gary, has been founded on the smallest real estate asset is just as important to those people as the biggest real estate asset is to those people. And speaking of Aviv, I don't think we've had a photo of Aviv and his wife and his new lovely daughter.
Oh, let's put it up
let's put it up right now.
Well done to you, Aviv, one of the Samuel brothers, Phil. When the Samuel brothers roll into town, you can expect some
congratulations to all of the grandparents, because particularly on the Samuel side, this is the first daughter.
Yes, there's been no girls.
There's been no girls in the Samuels household.
It's a men's club, but now it's been cracked open, Phil, with one of the sisters joining the club. Phil, we move on to Rosamond Street, St Kilda East. I did have the pleasure of witnessing Jeremy Rosens, who's a very cheeky boy, and I'm going to get him back, but of course he is, running me around with chocolates and making fun of me as he does. Jeremy Rosens, well done. I have to compliment you anyway. This property was quoted between 1.1 and 1.2. The reserve on the day was 1.2, so beautifully compliant, Philip. Although I dare say the vendors probably would have dropped that reserve if need be. Phil, sold for $1,475,000, a blaze of glory in terms of competition.
Great result. And look, we love that part of East St Kilda, which is really, viewers, the block that's bounded by, if you like, Hotham Street, Carlisle Street and Chapel Street as it curves around to come back into Brighton Road. That little pocket there, which is full of lovely period homes, a lot of single-fronted period homes, it's a great place to put your money.
Phil, 47 Grosvenor Street is secured another sale on the weekend. I'm going through a few more.
And that Grosvenor Street is also in the block that we've just talked about.
It is, Phil.
Interesting case study here, Gary. Because
Talk me through it.
Yep. Well, I can't remember the figures, but you might be. This was sold only 12 or 18 months ago.
I think it was sold maybe not even a couple of years ago,
Right.
unchanged for many hundreds of thousands of dollars less, Phil.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly the figure, but I think it was around 1-2.
So there goes the case study, Gary. It was going to be a great story until that, but hopefully by the time we go to air, that little case study will be up on screen.
Well, that's right. We'll try to clear it up and put on what it was sold for how much. You might be seeing that on screen. And this time I know that it was sold, we do know, Phil, it was sold for $1,560,000, well in excess of expectations once again. Philip, we sold 68 Gordon Street, Elstonwick, and that was certainly a very popular home, more popular than I expected. Although, of course, I part that home with a very lot of emotions. But I've got to say, Phil, when I look back at the sale, it's very unusual actually to be able to buy a good-sized block of land elsewhere because everything's heritage listed.
Absolutely.
So if you want to build an edgy, cool house, and this one I reckon is going to be cool,
yes.
And I think the people are going to either renovate or build, and good luck to them, and I hope it brings as much pleasure and joy as it did to us over our journey. What an amazing opportunity, really. A great block of land, so congratulations.
644 square metres of land, Gary. That is a good block of land, particularly by Elstonwick standards, where there tends to be a lot smaller allotments.
Phil, I guess if you think about what's going on with the block, that's going to really also going to be an interesting litmus test.
Litmus test, because it's litmus paper.
Litmus is going to be an interesting litmus test for the market, Phil, because there's going to be a number of new homes being sold. So,
well, they're not new homes, Gary. They are beautiful timber homes of a particular era, and they've had a full makeover and renovation. Okay. So they're an older style home with a full renovation. And what are they going to make? Well, we're certainly not going to be putting out on air what our call is for the block.
The 68 Gordon Street Elstonwick buyers will be watching that clearly.
Like your sleeves there this morning, Gary. What are we going to do about you and your dress?
Always, I copped it from my wife for the eyebrows today as well. She said there's actually a few grey ones in there. Can you see that? Let's shall we talk about what else happening, Phil? Because there's some auctions coming up this weekend. And look at this property in Narrowong Road. Let's talk about this weekend's auction, can we?
Yep, let's do it.
Phil, we are starting off on Saturday morning.
How many auctions this weekend, Gary?
We've got 6, Philip, over 6 suburbs.
So why have we only got 6 auctions, Gary?
Well, it's in July, This goes a bit quiet in
July. I just want to... I'm not asking you as though you don't know. I'm asking you to explain to the viewers why we have so few auctions.
Well, it's often quiet through this time of year, Philip. It's July. But let me just say this.
Oh, Gary, that's not the answer.
No, I have got an answer.
It's because it's winter and we've just hit the school holidays and we don't put a lot of our more expensive stock to the market during the school holidays. There we are. It's not that complicated.
You know what, Phil?
What was your answer? I'll humour you.
I've got to tell you that the 1st of July is very significant, Philip, because all the first home buyers, new first home buyers, they're at the starting blocks. If you can imagine, like the Melbourne Cup, they're all in the barriers. The gates are opening and they're all going to fly out, Phil. I reckon
viewers,
there's going to be a kick
what
on.
Gary is talking about is that as of the 1st of July, that for first home buyers that are buying a property under 600,000...
No, it's actually, I think it's under 700,000, Philip.
We'll come back to you. We'll put it up on the screen.
But there is no
They don't pay stamp duty. Correct.
You're right.
Correct.
And then there's very significant savings in the next bracket for first home buyers. So I reckon we're going to see a kick along in the market in this price range.
And here is the prognosis for the market. The trouble with this government initiative is that I think that we may just see prices jump for the properties that are being chased by first home buyers, and therefore it's going to be there's no benefit. Anyway, the government in their wisdom never actually picks up the phone and says to us, Philip, Gary, we were watching GPTV, what's your view? And this is the trouble with governments all around the world, in the Western world with democracies. They don't ask the people that know.
They don't ask us. They should be asking us how to save the problems of the world.
We should be a government advisory body to Malcolm Turnbull and Bill Shorten.
We can work it out. ISIS, the Middle East, anything, Phil. We can sort it all out. Just ask us. Phil, Canterbury Road. Now, this is an interesting apartment.
So this is the first auction we're talking about?
This is 10:30 a.m. Jeremy Rosen's auctions this apartment. Max Channersman is handling that handsome young man. And I've got to tell you, Phil, it's very interesting because this property has got a courtyard.
Yes.
But the courtyard is not on title. Phil.
Yes.
So some people are saying, well, we're not really buying a courtyard. The reality is no one else would probably ever likely to use the courtyard because it's fenced off and the owners have used it for years, but there's a little bit of uncertainty about it. So I think it's going to create a good opportunity for a buyer. Phil, because it's not on title, but it has been used and enjoyed.
They've had exclusive
and logic.
occupation?
Well, they haven't got any right to exclusive occupation, but why would anyone ever come into an area that's basically...
So it actually throws up an interesting argument,
one, yeah.
Viewers, because you will often see properties that were built in the 60s, particularly, where the subdivision was a bit antiquated, where there was areas that is defined as common land, but has been used exclusively by some of the apartments or the units.
Yes.
And it raises the question, do you have actual formal rights? And the actual answer is generally no, you don't.
No, you don't.
But you get sometimes, like this one in Canterbury Road, you get the benefit without having to pay for it.
I believe so.
You believe so, Gary.
That's my understanding.
That's a very diplomatic answer.
No, it is, because it's not on title, it's not licensed, but they can enjoy it.
You believe so.
Let's move on, Philip, to the next property, because that one's
It's good that you believe so, Gary.
Canterbury Road, if you're an investor or first-time buyer. Philip, I believe also that at 11:30am, we're in this showcase property that we're going to be auctioning, and I have got the auction honour while you gallivant around the world. Tell us,
Gary, what an incredible property we're in, and congratulations to the developers and architects of this property, because they have come through yet again, Gary. We love their work.
Yes.
The job here is incredible. The architecture is beautiful. The floor plan to this property flows so beautifully. A real advantage here that we have a bedroom downstairs and a bathroom. That gives us a total of 4 bedrooms and 3 luxurious bathrooms. The quality of detail and care and attention here, Gary, is second to none. And also the address here, Narrawong Road, is a very, very exclusive pocket of Caulfield South.
It is indeed nicely wrapped, Philip, and I'm looking forward to doing the auction as I keep travelling in an easterly direction from St Kilda West to Caulfield South to Ormond. Wall Street Ormond, Philip, is my third auction on Saturday. This apartment has attracted a huge amount of interest in the price range.
Well,
Philip.
so
most likely going to exceed it. But
so it should, Gary, because the renovation here
that.
is magnificent.
Yeah.
Have a look at that kitchen, have a look at the bathroom, have a look at the polished timber floors. This really is a standout apartment, and Wall Street's a great location.
Great spot, Phil, right in the heart of Ormond there. A great street that keeps getting better. Philip, Fitzroy Street at 12:30. We have double auction action at 12:30, and Jeremy Rosens is bringing this amazing looking apartment to the marketplace in a block that's called Catalina, Phil.
And Gary, what a great address, part of the St Kilda groove. But more importantly, I reckon, Gary, if you buy something in Fitzroy Street today, I reckon you're going to see a capital growth that is generated because of the block buying the Gatwick Hotel.
Yeah.
So we're going to see the block effect, viewers, happen in Fitzroy Street. Fitzroy Street's been on the nose really for the last 5 or 10 years.
It was such a good street, wasn't it?
But I think you'll see with Gatwick going, and I say this with due respect to the residents of the Gatwick. I think
I don't think they're watching.
I think you're going to see Fitzroy Street will have a new renaissance, and I think that buying in Fitzroy Street now will set you well for the future. What a great apartment building! Not often you can just walk downstairs and get a pizza.
No.
There is a pizza Domino's downstairs, which is great. But that's a great location: 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, and car parking. So it really doesn't get much better than that, Gary.
Phil, on Sunday we're going to be in Caulfield North in the hood that we so often sell in at 3 at 17 Marlborough Street in Caulfield.
Do you reckon you'll turn up to that auction on a horse, Gary, smoking a cigarette?
Yes, well, the Marlborough man was very sad, wasn't it, what happened to him, because he actually passed away from lung cancer.
Do you know what? I've got to tell you, I shouldn't smile when we say that, because anybody dying of cancer is a terrible thing.
shocking.
But having said that, you've got to love the fact that the Marlborough man did die of lung cancer.
You can't love it, but you can appreciate the cruel irony.
You can appreciate the cruel irony, Gary. That's probably the most intelligent sentence.
I'm going to just shut up now.
I think. In fact, did you look at my notes? Because somewhere I must have written.
Can I let
cruel,
my sleeves out now?
Somewhere.
He just, I don't know if you've got a little bit of footage, you can put it on. He just made me tuck my sleeves in, by the way, and then break.
The cruel irony, Gary, that I really am impressed. Let's talk about this property, because there's no cruel irony about this home, Gary, because it's 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, and 1 carport.
But 2 living areas.
And this, Gary, is exactly the sort of property that we were talking about earlier on the show that is appreciated in value. Great location, Marlborough. Great area to live in. And this is certainly a very, very good home and exactly the style real estate that we've been recommending.
So we're talking about, Phil, we finish off at 1:30 on Sunday. Benny Rothschild brings to the market this wonderful apartment in Dandenong Road, and there's been lots of interest in it, Phil.
Well, there should be, Gary, because this is 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space, beautifully renovated throughout. It's a really big, bright, beautiful apartment. And we love Dandenong Road because it's got such great access to everywhere. And it's a big, wide, tree-lined boulevard, and everything we touch in Dandenong Road, Gary, turns to gold.
Jeremy Rosens has it to himself, Phil, that's for sure. On Sundays, the only auctioneer, there's just the 2 auctions. But, you know, it's interesting, and I just want to close on this note. The block, you know, we brought it up twice.
Yes.
We talked about Regent Street, now talked about the Gatwick.
Yes.
Is the block actually changing values in Victoria?
Gary, there's no question in my mind, and this is a shout.
Can we get someone from the block? One of the official
Gary, I'm
people
working on something there. Viewers, stay
yeah.
tuned because we're going to have an exciting interview coming up with
a
somebody
big wig
from the block.
Yeah.
There's no question in my mind that it does drive. There is a block effect. There is no question there is a block effect.
And what does it add on? Who would know? 10%, 20%? I mean, Fitzroy Street could add on 20, 30%.
Do you know, if I was to speculate, I reckon there's a 20% factor.
There you go.
Now, that's done with no research, but I can tell you that we've now been involved in 2 blocks and set to be involved in the 3rd. And I can tell you that the prices that these properties get, there is an effect where there's a ripple effect, no question. It brings suburbs to the forefront of consumers' minds.
Yep.
And look, I've got to tell you, I reckon they do an amazing job.
And it creates a certain fearlessness if you're going to be buying something close by, something similar. It does renovate and improve. Well, Phil, that's a big wrap. We're not going to see you for a little while. So
no, Gary, I'm off for 2 weeks. I'm looking forward to it.
And you'll talk about where you're going?
Well, viewers, you'll be pleased to know that
Should we start spreading the news?
I'm going to Hong Kong to see my tailor. I've got 2 days booked in with my tailor.
That's just unbelievable.
And then I fly
That's just true, and it's just ridiculous. Who does that?
I do that. And you know what?
The Aga Khan. Who does that?
It's the Aga Khan.
You don't know what the Aga Khan is?
People,
you know the Aga Khan is?
People that actually care about their level of presentation, Gary, do go to great extents, and I'm one of those.
You're going with a fleet of Aussies, yeah? There's a whole lot of Aussies going to Hong Kong. Phil's going on a tour.
Anyway, I'm going to eat some Peking duck as well. And then I'm off to New York City, Gary, where I'm very excited to go.
Well,
can't wait.
Good luck to you. Yeah. I'll just stay here and do the work. Don't you worry about that, Phil. That's a big wrap on GPTV on this wonderful Tuesday. Looking forward to speaking to you next week. I'm Gary Pearce.
See you in the new financial year, viewers. May this year have been good for you, but next year even better.
Agreed. Cheers.